Welcome back to Dash Yoga. I'm your instructor, David. Today we're going to practice some drills to increase your shoulder strength for your handstands. We're going to do it in a very unique and fun way so that you don't get bored just holding your handstand up against the wall. Okay, but at the same time, you can't underestimate the importance of just holding your feet up against the wall while you're on your hands to build and cultivate that strength in your arms, in your shoulders, in your hands. So we're going to start off with the most basic form of our supported handstand so that you can build that strength, and then we'll start to add some variations, and then we'll play around with the wall sequence so that you can have something to do as you are holding yourself up on your hands. Okay, it's just a little bit more fun to do as well. So just to practice, we're going to start off with warming up the wrists. Just come into your tabletop position, turn the fingertips out, and just shift your weight side to side. And then we're going to circle our shoulders around the wrists to the right. Take the circles in the opposite direction. So all these wrist stretches that we do are very vital, especially for the longevity of your handstand practice. Okay, from here you're going to turn your fingertips towards your knees, start to lean back. So when you do daily stretches on your wrists, you don't necessarily have to warm up before your handstands because you're constantly doing them. But if you rarely do those stretches, then it's probably a good idea before your handstand practice just to get some wrist strength stretches in. Okay, shifting forward, we're going to put the back of the hands onto the mat, curl the fingertips in, and then start to lean back. And usually you don't understand the importance of these stretches until you come across an injury. And then I've been fortunate enough to use these injuries that I've had in my past to come up with practices to strengthen, different areas of the body. I feel like injuries are a good way to kind of tell you areas of your body that are either weak or maybe too open or too tight, and then you modify your practice to target those areas so that you can do exciting things like handstands or arm balances or back bends. Okay, and then we're going to just sit back, interlace your hands, and start to circle out the wrists. Take it in the opposite direction. Okay, and then we're good to go. We're going to start off with our supported handstand. We're not going to do any kick-ups for this. We're just going to walk the feet up the wall. So you're going to come into your downward facing dog. You're going to lift your legs. So you're going to place your toe mount onto the wall and then lift the other leg up. Once you're up against the wall, try to formulate a straight line. If it feels comfortable to do so, this is going to be a little bit more challenging. You're walking your hands closer to the wall. So the closer you get to the wall, the more challenging it becomes. Okay, you can hold these postures for as long as you like. Ideally, try to build up for a 1 minute hold. You can do that in increments. You can start off with 20 seconds, build to 30, 40, and then coming out. So coming out, if you're close to the wall, walk your hands forward, and then drop off the legs to one side. Okay, so let's do some fun variations of our handstands now, and then we'll break them down individually until we bring all those poses together and we'll weave it into a sequence. Okay? So, first one is our standing splits up against the wall. I'm going to start off in my downward dog. I'm lifting one leg up. So I place the toe mounts onto the wall. Walk my hands back. And then I'm going to flex the right foot so the right foot comes off the ground. Pressing my chest and hips back to the wall. Holding this position. Okay, it also feels really good to put the top of the left foot on the wall instead of curling the toes under. That way you can get closer into the wall. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. Okay, there's no set duration that we're gonna do this for. Just kind of pick a time that fits your practice. And then maybe just make note of it so that you can, when you come back to this practice, you can see if you can either match that time or do a little bit better. Good. Even if you can't lift your foot off the wall, you can always just kind of put your toe mounds on and then press your hips towards the wall. Press the chest back and then coming back down. Okay, so that is our split variation. We're going to move into our pigeon variation. Here's a nice fun one. So you may start off nice and far from the wall, but eventually to push back, you're going to have to get a little bit closer to the wall. You're going to lift one leg up, lift the leg. I'm going to bend my right knee. So when you bend your right knee, look where your right knee is. Try to take the right knee to the right of your hip. So it's not under your body, it's to the right. And then from here, I'm going to press my hips back, push my chest back. To come down, I'm going to curl the toes under, lower the foot like you're doing standing splits, and then lower the other leg. Okay, let's try the other side. And then coming out, lower the foot, followed by the other foot. Okay, the next one is one of my personal favorites. It is the Spider-Man pose. So we're gonna set up the same way that you'd set up going into your supported shoulder stand up against the wall. Just a few modifications. So Warrior 2. Warrior 2 is the front leg bent, back leg is straight. We're gonna try to do Warrior 2 up against the wall. So hands come on the wall, you're gonna lift the left leg. When you lift your right leg, bend the leg and already come into that bent leg position. Then you're gonna spin your left heel down. So that's our Warrior 2 stance. To come into our Spider-Man pose, you have to adjust the hands. You're gonna shift the weight into your right hand. So to shift the weight, try to come onto your left fingertips first. You don't wanna suddenly try to remove, right? You wanna do this with control. Shift to the right, come on the fingertips. You can take your left hand off and then reach it towards the wall. If you can't touch the wall, it means you're a little far out. That's fine. If you can touch the wall perfectly, then you're a nice distance away. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the other side. If you need to, you can come down first and then switch to the other side. And then coming back down. Okay, the last one that we're gonna do is child's pose up against the wall. So once again, I'm gonna lift the legs. And then I'm gonna take my knees out wide. So I'm gonna place them on the wall, toes touch, I'm gonna push my hips back, press the chest back. To come out, I'm shifting the hips forward, curl the toes under, and then with control, lower the feet. Okay, so there you have it, a few wall poses. Now we're gonna weave the the poses into a full sequence. You don't have to do the full one. Maybe you're doing standing splits and then you're just switching to the other side while you're on the wall, or same thing with pigeon. You're on your right side and you just switch to your left, okay? But if you wanna tie it all together and have a little bit more challenge, then here we go. So, starting off with our standing splits. From our standing splits, we're going to pigeon, so you're bending the right knee, hips back, push the chest back. Coming into our Spider-Man pose, remember, place that foot. Coming to your Warrior 2 stance, shift the weight, touch the wall. And then we're gonna switch to the opposite side. Or you just come down and then take a break and then switch. I'm gonna stay up, coming into my standing splits. Take it into my pigeon.
Coming into my Spider-Man. And then I'm gonna end it off in my child's pose. Toes together, knees apart, and then hips to heels. And then coming all the way back down. Okay, there you have it. Give it a try. Modify it as you see where it fits more with your practice. And I will see you in the next class.